On this week's episode, Disney shouts out its future with D23. What's the future for Assassin's Creed? And did Cobra Kai show no mercy for season 5? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there going ahead and doing so. And if you can, go ahead and do that. Plus, also, as well, the fact that we are the number one tabletop RPG streamer out there on Facebook, where we have a ton of video waiting for you in the realm of tabletop RPGs with Dungeons and Dragons, Vampires and Vitae, and so much more. Plus, also as well, we have the plus also as well we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every day. And my gosh, was there a ton of pop culture news and information that came out this weekend. And you can go ahead and catch it all, including trailer after trailer after info after trailer today at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And if you do all that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is our own master of the realm known as Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at popculturecosmos.com. Go ahead and check out his page for his upcoming great experience known as the Happy Hoarder, plus his sensational podcast, the Super BS Games Cast, and of course his amazing book, Congratulations You Suck, which you can get right now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What's up? You know what's really warming my heart these days is all the love for Brendan Fraser. Like, God bless the man. You know,
He recently got a 6-minute standing ovation for his performance in The Whale.
I know he was gonna. I guess he was on his way out of the building, and then they started applauding him, and he just
he was
broke
crying.
Down. Yeah.
The Rock sent him a special message because they have that Mummy connection. And I'm happy for him as well. The revival of Brendan Fraser, obviously with what he's doing in Doom Patrol, and a very Oscar noteworthy performance in The Whale as a 600-pound man just trying to deal with a lot of stress and a lot of things going on in his life, a fractured relationship with his daughter. There's been no trailer released out on it yet, but when there is, we'll make sure we pop it on the Pop Culture Cosmos. But yes, a lot of people are anticipating this to be one of the highlights of the cinematic year.
Yeah. And
Darren Aronofsky, a great director, went ahead and directed that movie.
And honestly, I love Brendan Fraser. Like, I would watch. The Nicolas Cage thing, everyone's like, yeah, let's they blew up his career for nothing, but Brendan Fraser truly deserves all the love that's coming his way.
Absolutely. Plus also The Fabelmans, which is Steven Spielberg's latest film, just got premiered this weekend at the Toronto Film Festival. And that is getting also a lot of pub because that's based on his early life and is patterned so much after his early life. So if you want to get a better idea of Steven Spielberg's life as a child and how he got interested in film, this will be the way to go ahead and do it. So very interesting coming out of the Toronto Film Festival. And we can't even cover that on today's show because there is so much to talk about. But before we do, I wanted to go ahead and let you know when you stop by your local Walmart, it's there. It's Christmas time.
Oh
And when you
yeah.
go by the aisles now, you will catch a devoted end cap entire just basically going ahead just full of Hallmark Christmas ornaments that are all pop culture related. So if you want your Captain America, if you want your Captain America ornament, or if you want your Jaws movie poster tree ornament, go ahead and check it out. Yes, it's already started, my friend. The Christmas retail rush has already started indeed. So,
Yeah, yeah. We were in Sam's Club. We were in Sam's Club, and they didn't have like the pop culture stuff, but I mean they had Halloween, a little tiny end cap of Halloween. We're
I mean,
already
just a
in.
whole gambit. Star Wars, I said
Yeah,
Jaws, Marvel. Yeah, that's all the Hallmark just was already laid it out there and said, go ahead, come on
yeah.
and buy.
Yeah, we were they're really just letting it go. And yeah, I love Christmas cuz like I love seeing all the new like, and not just Christmas ornaments but just themed decorations. Like last year, the year before, we got like a plethora of what do you call it, like Christmas Vacation
Yeah.
uh blow ups for your front lawn. And then there's like Harry Potter, you could run the Hogwarts Express around your tree. I
Well,
don't know, it just I love it. I love it.
Well, I just know that a lot of people now, I can't wait till I get the blowback about having pop culture stuff. Like when I had a Darth Vader blow up in the front yard, and if you show off the tree and you put a little pop culture stuff in there, I can't wait for the blow off. Say, oh, that's not Christmas stuff. That's not Christmas. Christmas is the way that you want to go ahead and envision it. If you want a Jaws poster tree ornament on your tree,
Mhm.
God bless you. Go ahead and do it. That should be
Exactly.
no problems
It can be whatever you want it to be.
because it's not a traditional Christmas. That's can't you do that? You can't do that. No, you can do what you want. As long as the idea about Christmas is about family, about being together, and about
Mhm.
giving the gifts to others and making their day. So that's just me. That's just me.
Amen. No, I agree. I absolutely agree with you.
But we've got a ton to talk about, my friend. A ton to talk about on today's show because, oh my gosh, we thought Disney had, after Comic Con, had already just fired a lot of its guns. We knew that they were saving some of it for D23. No, they unloaded again at D23 this past weekend. So we've got the entire list that I'm going to break down of what they showed off, both the games and also the movie and television part of D23. We're going to go ahead and talk about that on the front half of the show. On the back half of the show, Cobra Kai season 5. I binged through season 5.
Dang.
Is it still as good as it has been for the first 4 seasons? We'll talk about that coming up on the show. Plus, also as well, Lord of the Rings episode 3. Do 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 do. Is a trip to Numenor worth a good episode for episode 3 in Lord of the Rings Rings of Power? We'll talk about that coming up here in a bit. Plus, Clerks 3 comes out this week. What's the advance word on Kevin Smith's latest reimagining after so many years of Clerks in Clerks 3? We'll talk about that coming up. And did anybody know out there about Ubisoft Forward? Their media press conference slash showcase where they showcased what's upcoming for them with several of their games. Did anyone actually see it? Because came around the time of D23. If you didn't, we'll tell you about the highlights, including the future of Assassin's Creed as well. But first, my friend, I'm going to take a deep breath because we got a lot to talk about with D23. And I'll put it to you this way. Last night, I was typing up about for 45 minutes all the different things that were announced and whether or not it was behind the scenes, whether or not it was a trailer, whether or not it was just information given. I was working on it for 45 minutes, and then I realized Deadline has a much nicer format than I did on it. So I actually ditched 45 minutes of work right there. So I just go ahead and hop over to Deadline and check out what they did because they released a ton of stuff. So are you ready for this, my friend? And
Oh yeah, hit me. Throw it at me.
feel free feel free to go ahead and interject with your thoughts on this at any point in time if you had a chance to check it out, because they had a ton of trailers and we have virtually all of them right now. The links are available at Facebook at Pop Culture Cosmos, so you can just click on them and go and watch, because there was a ton of stuff. So I'm going to start off with the Marvel stuff that's related. So the live action film stuff, they've got. Say again.
What?
Oh, I thought you said something. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Something came out through the thing. It's like, it's like, that was weird. Okay. So right now, it's right up there on Deadline. So we'll give them prompts for Marvel. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. They got to see behind the footage at D23, behind the scenes footage at D23 of what's coming up. But what the big info from that is, there was footage shown of MODOK, and also as well that it will directly tie into the upcoming Kang Dynasty first part of the Avengers movies, part one of the Avengers movies coming up, I think in 2025, if I'm not mistaken. That one is going to be involved in it, or is it 2024? I think it's 2025. No, 2024. It's 2024.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like the last one, right?
no, it's the first one. The first one is Kang Dynasty. The second one is Secret Wars. Yeah. So if this movie is going to directly tie into the Kang Dynasty Avengers movie. So that was the latest news from that one. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. The crowd thrilled to new footage from the MCU sequel. So they got to see some behind the scenes footage of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That's coming up in November at theaters. Captain America, New World Order. The big news there was information that Shira Haas and Tim Blake Nelson, who is joining the cast of
I
this
know. I never thought
as
they'd
the
bring him
leader.
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
as the
amazing.
yep, he is playing the leader. Who, if you got a chance to see the original 2008 Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, the movie that actually started it all with the MCU and all that, he is actually replaying the movie that, if you got to see the very end, he becomes the leader, and he will be the leader in Captain America New World Order. So that's very interesting, upcoming for Anthony Mackie's movie coming up. I'm very excited for that one. That's coming up in on May 3rd, 2024. Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige confirmed that Max Shackman from the WandaVision series, who ditched Star Trek, so that Star Trek movie, which was not announced as far as any updates or anything on Star Trek Day. So Matt Shackman, the director of Star Trek, leaving that project to direct Fantastic Four, and that's going to hit theaters right now, scheduled tentatively for November 8th, 2024. The
So,
Thunderbolts.
can I
Oh,
stop
come
you
on.
for a second?
Yeah.
I heard an outlandish rumor. I know it's been confirmed, right, that Henry Cavill is in Loki. Is that right?
I've not. I've only seen the side sites of
Okay.
the speculation sites that Henry Cavill is among major celebrities that have agreed to terms of Marvel. It is just rumor because it has not been on a IGN or a Deadline or Variety or Hollywood Reporter. I've not seen it on any of those, so I'm not going to comment on that as a true
Okay.
thing as of yet.
I wasn't had no idea what was going on with that. But so I had also saw a side fates sorry, not fates, a side, one of the smaller websites saying that Henry Cavill is being considered for Victor Von Doom. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I would see that. I don't see him playing a villain very well.
Well, we're going to see our first hints of Doctor Doom in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movies. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not sure if I see that as well. But again, they've been able to go ahead and really connect with a lot of actors. They've gotten it right, way more right than wrong on castings as far as that's concerned. So we'll go ahead and keep our eyes open. But there's nothing been confirmed yet on Henry Cavill joining the MCU. So I want to make sure that that's thrown out there as far as from a reputable 100% site. So I wanted to mention that. The Thunderbolts, my friend, were announced as far as that's coming up in 2024 on July 26th as of now for Phase 5. The Thunderbolts. All right, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Da- David Harbour, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, of course, leading this whole thing, Wyatt Russell, Florence Pugh as Black Widow, Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier, Hannah John Kamen from the Ant-Man and the Wasp. She played Ghost, and Olga Kurylenko, I believe, who played the Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Black Widow movie. So your thoughts on this? So that's the group that they're going to go with for now. No mention of how they're going to go ahead and tie this to Thunderbolt Ross. I'm still hoping they will recast the role with either Sam Elliott or someone else. I really like the fact to have him as a antagonist per se in the MCU.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're not going to recast him. I have a feeling they'll write him off, much like Chadwick. Not write him off, but like they'll kind of respectfully
Respectfully story him
story him
off.
out. Yeah, and kind of like what did with Chadwick Boseman,
I mean,
because
I won't be mad over it. I just think that the Thunderbolt Ross character is someone, since he's already been played by two different people. It wouldn't be like
who
terrible if someone did it again.
who was he? What was this? Who was the second person that played him, or the first
Sam
person?
Elliott. Sam Elliott was the first one. Remember in the Eric Bana Hulk.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, yeah, I didn't even cross my mind.
and
Okay,
he's
yeah,
playing roles in 1883 and Yellowstone and all that stuff.
he's
So
got a lot going on, a lot on
yeah,
his plate right now.
so he's
Um,
still alive and kicking. Go ahead and bring him back. But I don't know. That's just me.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah. So
bring someone younger in. Just someone. That's all.
yeah, anybody will do.
'Cause
Yeah,
I don't want I don't want to see that character die. That's me.
yeah, but I mean, I just I have a feeling they'll, and this is a good spot for what's her name, like Louise,
Julia Louis
Louis
Dreyfus, yeah.
Dreyfus, yeah, to kind of
The Contessa.
dine in, and maybe they'll do a thing where they're like, oh, I just got off the phone with Thunderbolt with General Ross, and he said, he'll be like a character behind the scenes, and other people will speak for him.
Maybe we'll see. But again, I'd like to see something materialize out of that. But that's the crew right now that was announced for the Thunderbolts. That is going to be a major part of Phase 5 in 2024. So I'm looking forward to that. Lucasfilm showed up and they debuted a lot of things and also stuff behind the scenes. The thing that I was really interested in most, I was hoping to see a trailer of, even if it was just a silhouette of Indy himself. Unfortunately, was not. It was shown behind the scenes, but Harrison Ford did show up to showcase Indiana Jones 5 and some footage behind the scenes to the crowd at D23. And he was very emotional and said that, you know what, this is it. He's done.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
and I don't blame him. I still hope he gets to do something in a Blade Runner realm. So, hopefully, Denis Villeneuve after Dune Part 2 will, go back to that. Maybe one more last Harrison Ford there. But this is it for Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad, but what a way to go out though. Like what a way to go out on a film that may kind of like helped shape your career.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
it is sad to see him go, but it's also like I think it's such a good way to like say goodbye to the fans.
Absolutely indeed. Willow, the reimagining of the classic, I guess, from 1988. It wasn't a classic at the time. It was a bomb. It was not a very. There's a reason why it wasn't really approached again as far as Willow until now. Now it's become this cult fan favorite, and everybody now wants to get into Willow. So a new Willow series is on the way, and they showed off a trailer that was shown also as well, released to the public. So go ahead and check that out on our site, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. If you're a big fan of Willow, it looks like Warwick Davis returns along with a crew to go ahead and save the world in a fantasy mystical type thing, which actually Josh and I really can appreciate, because with Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones all out as far as the medieval fantasy type deal, it looks like this is going to fit right in. So I'm happy that that's coming out.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is like I've heard casual people say like, "Oh, this is on Disney Plus," and I watched it and I enjoyed it. But I've also heard people like say that they hated it, but then there are like your hardcore fans out there. It
Yeah.
kind of like the movie was not good, but it still has like a cult following.
It's so funny though, because it's all based off of. I'm sure a lot of it was based off of the viewings on Disney Plus. That when you put it at the library, how many people were drawn to going ahead and checking out. And that's the thing, because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about and releasing is it's not original. It's all remakes or borrowing from something that they have in their library. And I think a lot of it is based on their numbers and analytics on how many things that how many views that they see. So
Yeah.
people go ahead and check out a lot more Tron, please, if you can. So
Oh
you
my
can go
gosh.
ahead.
Yes. Yes.
I would love to see a series based on Tron in that world. We got an announcement on a video game for Tron, but I want to see something a little bit more in the world of Tron. But that's just me. So go ahead and check out Tron, please. Check out all the Tron stuff you can on Disney Plus. Coming up for 20th century side of things was one big thing, and that was Avatar: The Way of Water. And there was behind the scenes footage shown to the people at D23. James Cameron, he zoomed in and talked about his work on the upcoming Way of Water film. I think that he's like on Avatar 4 or something like that. He's moved on. He's all the way into Avatar 4 or 5 right now. So he is
Did
just,
do you
yeah.
know, did he give any advice on like cheating the box office? Like what's it like to re-release your movie 6 times?
I think Adventure. I think Kevin Feige and Avengers Endgame would love to know that little secret, because he's about ready
Mhm.
to release the original Avatar here next week, and that's going to be re-released and shown off once again. Like you said, I say $40 to $100 million more as they head into Avatar: The Way of Water. So, yeah, it's just more money, more money. Sorry, Avengers Endgame. But Disney live action stuff that's coming on the way was Mufasa, the Lion King. That
Really?
title, what?
Really? I had no I saw sorry, I only saw like the Star Wars and Marvel stuff. I didn't realize that there's like they were doing
Oh,
another Lion King
ton
spinoff.
of things. Yes, Mufasa, the Lion King is going to be released in 2024, and a sneak peek was shown to the crowd. So that was something that's going to be on the way. The Little Mermaid, a new teaser trailer was released to the public.
Oh,
So
that
that was, huh? You caught it?
yeah, no, I caught that one. What do you think of that? Like that was yeah, you could tell a lot of that's like not underwater. I mean, not that they could film the whole thing underwater, but do you think that it's still going to be able to like capture the magic? And because The Lion King was an amazing movie. I don't care what
Yeah.
anyone says. Like I really love The Lion King. Beauty and the Beast was okay, but like Little Mermaid, it's just there's so many elements to that movie that make it feel the make people feel the way they feel while watching it, little kids especially. Do you think that that's going to translate in a live action format?
It's all based on the songs, my friend. It's not targeting you, it's going to target the kids, and it's all based on the songs. So if the songs can resonate, I believe she is going to be an amazing singer and presence on screen.
Okay.
That it is going to be very CG heavy. That just a lot of the green screen action and all that, because like you said, it's creating that underwater thing that's going on there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it's all based on the songs. If the songs are good,
Yeah.
then it should be okay. I think all the hubbub again, people they just move on from the Game of Thrones, they move on from the Lord of the Rings, and with their vitriol there, they're going to go and put their vitriol into the Little Mermaid. You and I both know it, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, what is the general audience going to do to accept it or not accept it? And I think they are going to accept it, especially if the songs are good and if it's received by critics relatively well. I think that just speaks well for the movie. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Also, I mean, at this point, Disney's obviously not taking a chance on anything new. So
No, no. I've given up on that. I've given
Yeah,
up on that, my friend.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
Disney Plus is a lot of series are coming that are going to, and a lot of series and movies that are coming up, including Hocus Pocus 2 that's coming out at the end of this month. A new trailer was shown off for that. Disenchanted, if everybody remembers that comedic film, that was actually kind of really interesting for Amy Adams and Dylan McDermott. That Amy Adams, I'm sorry, Amy Adams and McDreamy, I should say. They're going to be back at it again, playing their same roles that they got from the original Enchanted movie, which was actually pretty funny, pretty funny. So that they debuted a trailer for that one, and that is coming out in November 24th. As far as for the sequel for that, that's a movie that's coming straight to Disney Plus. And Peter Pan and Wendy, that will be released in on Disney Plus next year as well. So that's coming up. Again, nothing original, but at this time when you're going to Disney Plus, I don't think you're expecting much in the way of that. So
No.
yeah. But animated wise, coming up, Elemental. They're talking about the lead actors that were involved. A lot of information that was released for the movie that's coming up next year in June. Elio is the next Pixar feature film about a young kid who is, I guess, just a dreamer that's living in fantasy worlds as far as going ahead and just really seeing what they can do. I guess it's working about just he becomes part of an intergalactic, United Nations, so to speak, United Planet, so to speak. So it's going to be a very interesting concept that Pixar has in works for us, but that is going to be released in spring 2024. I know they're working on some stuff that's coming out next year, but yes, Pixar is going to be, in fact, a series also as well. A long form series is going to be actually released from Pixar for Disney Plus. So that's going to come out in the spring of 2024. That's Elio. Inside Out 2, the sequel was confirmed with Amy Poehler is coming back for the role, or one of the roles. It's coming back for one of the roles. It's coming back for one of the roles. Summer 2024, I think, is when it's coming out. So that's Inside Out 2. Inside Out was just really a gut buster as far as emotional. So very
Yeah,
excited to see.
so I mean, I obviously, I'm like my kids like to watch these Disney movies, but the Inside Out one was like so sad for them, and they
Yes.
just like had no desire to watch it again. They liked it, but they just didn't want to go back to it, So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm curious how
Well,
many people.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. It was a good movie, but it is Disney's most it is Pixar's most emotional movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't really want to go and start crying all over the place again because
Yeah,
it's yeah,
right.
yeah.
And it just makes me wonder like how many people are really like how many kids are really wanting to go back to that.
There's a couple more features coming up from the animation department at Disney, including Strange World. They showed off a trailer for that was released to the public, and that's coming November 23rd. And Wish is one of their new original feature films that they're coming up with. So that one's going to be coming out with a famous name, Alan Tudyk. Going to go ahead and be a part of that. Looking forward to that. It ought to be a very funny thing and entertaining thing to see coming up, and that's coming up for a fall 2023 release. So looking forward to that as well. On the television side of things, with Marvel, they have Ironheart, which they just talked about some information going on as far as casting is concerned. They haven't announced a date for that yet. Secret Invasion with
Oh.
Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Masterson. That's coming. That they showed off a trailer for that, and we have that on the link at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. So if you want to go ahead and check out the trailer, it's right there for you. Secret Invasion. It looks very, very interesting. It's going to premiere next year, so I'm looking very forward to that. Armor Wars. They didn't release a date for that, but they did just mention some things as far as information going on with it. Loki, they announced some castings information, and they did show a little bit of stuff that's going on as far as production for next season. So, but they haven't set a date for that one for next year. Echo, that they showed some stuff behind the scenes as far as a special look as far as some stuff. So that is also coming up sometime next year, but they didn't put
And
a exact date on it.
Yeah, and that's
Daredevil,
supposed to feature yeah, speaking of Daredevil, it's supposed to feature Daredevil and
Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah,
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, yeah.
Speaking of which, they were on stage, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, for a discussion on Daredevil Born Again, where they just discussed about the series itself and did reiterate there's going to be 18 episodes of it. So production of the actual series is going to be in 2023. So hopefully it will hit sometime during phase 5 in 2024. And one of the more interesting aspects of the whole D23 experience was Werewolf by Night, a new Halloween special that's coming up. It's going to be released on October 7th, but it was a special Marvel Halloween themed one off. So, your thoughts on Werewolf by Night before we head to the break?
I didn't actually know anything about this. Like I know I read about it. I read about it, but I love that Disney's kind of getting behind the whole like holiday theme because I know we have the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special and all that. So yeah, man. I mean, the more the merrier, But I didn't really see anything about this. So I mean, can you tell me more about what this is?
Well, if you got a chance to see the trailer, which they debuted to the public, so you get a chance to see it, the links at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. It deals a lot with. It's shot in a really old school black and white, almost like a 1930s horror movie with a lot of film grain and a lot of stop jerking, and as far as viewing is concerned, it's really just got a different look. The actors, none of the actors really are name as far as really out there as far as stars, but the look of it as far as which one. It's a lot of individual heroes and hunters, but only one is a werewolf, and that's basically the premise of the trailer. Is you have to decide which one is going to be the end up being the werewolf. So you get to see some scares and things of that
Yeah.
nature, but nothing outlandish or like going on really super tinged horror, because it's Disney Plus. But it's something very interesting that I thought was out of the box by Marvel.
So is this a series or is this just a movie?
It's a movie. It's a one-off.
Okay. All right.
It might
Yeah.
not even be for the full length movie. I think it might just be like an hour long or something like that. It's just like a special that's thrown up there.
Yeah, and here's the great thing about that is like kids love, even adults, I mean myself included. Like I love holiday specials. Like I love being able to sit down with my kids and watching something holiday themed. So if that's the case, I welcome it.
Absolutely. So, what are your thoughts so far on D23? Please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, we're back for the second half of the show, and we devoted the first half of the show to D23. We're going to devote a little bit more to D23 before we run off everything else that's on the show. Andor showed the final trailer before the series starts on September 21st with 3 episodes. Your thoughts on Andor before we head over to what's next?
So I know I've said this before, but I'm not really too excited about this show. Like I love the world of Rogue One, and I'll probably check out a few episodes of this, but like unless the first few episodes really like hook me in, I don't
Mm-hmm.
see this being something that I'm gonna be watching a lot of. And here's the thing: it's just like with Star Wars shows in general. Like I like The Mandalorian. I started it, and then like I fell off a couple episodes, haven't gone back since. It's just that world feels so completely mind dry to me, and there has to be something that really recreates my interest in the mythology. Like I enjoyed the Obi-Wan show, which was, it was good. But other than that, like the extended universe, I'm just not at one time I was obsessed with it, but now it's not interesting to me anymore. And I'm not saying that like nothing against people that love this. Like I have friends who are huge Star Wars fans, just like me on a personal level. It's hard to get me into some of these new Star Wars properties because I'm so burnt out on these stories that have already been told. I want to see something new in the Star Wars universe. I want a new starting off point. Like I don't want the Republic era. I don't want to hear. I'm not really interested in going back to that.
Well, we'll see what happens there with Star Wars Andor. That's coming out later this month. I'll have my initial impressions when the show comes out on the 21st. and the first 3 episodes are going to be there for you right there on Disney Plus. Again, that's kind of, as I said before, that's kind of weird how they're doing that, because the first 2 episodes actually, if you just spaced them out week by week, and actually the first episode would have debuted on Disney Plus Day. But, hey, they want to do it when they want to do it. That's when they want to do it. The Mandalorian. You talked about The Mandalorian. A trailer for season 3 did debut and was released to the public. And that showcased a lot of interesting things as far as where they're going back to the home world of the Mandalorian and some other things going on. Tatooine, of course, has always got to go back to that. So a lot of things going on with the Mandalorian for season 3. And you can check out the trailer on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. Star Wars: The Bad Batch was delayed to January 4th for season 2, but they did showcase some things behind the scenes as far as that's concerned and talked about that. Tales of the Jedi, that has an October 26th premiere date, and that's an anthology series set in the Star Wars universe with a lot of shorts, animated shorts that deal with Jedi. So Tales of the Jedi, that comes out late next month on Disney Plus. And last but not least, the rest of the Disney Plus was American-born Chinese, Big Shot, Wazhu, and The Muppets Mayhem are all series and long-form series and specials that are coming to Disney Plus as well in 2023 and also later this year as well. So overall, just a ton of stuff that they talked about, including more stuff like National Treasure, Edge of History. They released a trailer for that, and I've got that on Pop Culture Cosmos, so check that out. It features a lot of Catherine Zeta-Jones. Prom Pact, The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder for season 2 that premieres next year in February. The first season went off very well. A lot of people really liking that. The Santa Clauses with Tim Allen. The first look teaser was released, so that comes out in November. Win or Lose, that's coming out. That's Will Forte is joining the cast on that one. That one comes out next year in the fall. Zootopia Plus, a new trailer was shown for that series. That one launches next month. Excuse me, that one launches on Disney Plus on November the 9th. And then also Best in Snow, Pentatonics, Around the World for the Holidays, The Hip Hop Nutcracker, Marvel's Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur, Under Wraps 2, Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. And that they didn't even put all the stuff there. IGN just stopped as well because there was so much stuff. They didn't even talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians. They showed off a trailer for that, and we put that on Pop Culture Cosmos as well. So a ton of stuff, my friend, and that doesn't even cover the games. But overall, for Disney Plus and what's coming out in the movies for Disney, any last thoughts before we head on to the games part of it?
No, I mean that's quite a bit. Like you said, I was hoping for more Tron stuff, like a definitive, like, yes, we will be going back to the world of Tron.
Well, they've got a ride coming up at Disney World that they're making, and we'll talk a little bit about Tron here in a sec. But yeah, it would have been nice to see a movie or a series. I would love a series in the world of Tron. They did an animated series that was highly praised. So yeah, back in the day, which you can catch on Disney Plus. So yeah, go ahead and check out some Tron. Maybe we'll go ahead and get some more from the world of Tron. But speaking of the world of Tron, they were part of the Disney Game Showcase with a not a Tron Identity it's a visual novel from the makers of Thomas Was Alone. So that's a very interesting aspect of the world of Tron. I'd like to go ahead and check out. The teaser was revealed, so go ahead and check that out on GameSource, our sister site on Facebook. Plus, also as well, Marvel's Midnight Suns. It got a new release date for December 2 of this year. So it was going to be something that I guess that we're looking forward to. So Marvel's Midnight Suns is coming out before the end of the year, unless the Nintendo Switch that doesn't have a date yet. But for PlayStation 5 owners and Xbox Series X and S owners and the PC, you get Midnight Suns coming this year, which actually is a good thing because that means there's actually a game that is coming out before the end of the year. So we'll see what happens there. Also, as well, the biggest news out of all this was Amy Hennig, who you and I love so dearly from her work with the creation of the Uncharted series.
Mm.
We know her career since then, as far as that Star Wars game that was in development at EA that she was making was pulled out from under the rug by EA at the time. She has moved on and she's working with Skydance Media, and she is coming out with a Marvel Captain America and Black Panther game that's set in World War II. So I'm very excited to see what kind of narrative she can bring for that. Did you hear about that going on at the Marvel's Game
I
Showcase?
did, yeah, and I watched the trailer for it. Yeah, I'm interested, but I need to know a little bit. I wanted to see some gameplay, which was not something we got.
No, well, you and I, it's always they always do that cinematic trailer that they showcase, and a year
Right.
on down the line, they start showing you
Like,
some gameplay.
you think of Amy Hennig and you think about, you think about narrative driven gameplay, like the mechanics
Mhm.
revolve around the narrative and the story. That's what I want to see. Because traditionally, like, I don't play a lot of superhero games because they're just not fun.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're all like very beat 'em up and not really narrative driven in a way that like really enthralls you. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was good, but that was the first time I've ever played a superhero game that I cared about the story. So that's what I
Well,
want to see.
say again. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said that's what I wanted to see.
All right. Well, definitely looking forward to that because you and I both have, again, great affection for the work of Amy Hennig. Looking forward to seeing what she can do for the world of Captain America and Black Panther in this upcoming game. Also, wanted to mention that dropped last week was Disney's Stardew Valley. It's in beta access right now. You can go ahead and check it out. It is their
Dreamlight Valley, I
I'm
think.
sorry, Disney's Dreamlight Valley. Yes, you can go ahead and check that out right now. That dropped last week. That's their version of Animal Crossing. It is going to be a live service game once it comes out of access and becomes a full fledged game, but it's available to play right now. So go ahead and check that out. They talked about that a little bit, and that has some pretty positive reviews so far. So looking good there. A Mickey Mouse and Friends co-op game, Illusion Island, was announced for the Nintendo Switch, so that's upcoming in 2023. Marvel's World of Heroes, which is a augmented reality game that was announced by Pokemon Go developer Niantic. So anything relating to that, could that blow up like Pokemon Go? I don't know, but the trailer that came out looks pretty cool. So we could be all doing that from our mobile phones pretty soon. So who knows? Avatars, Frontiers of Pandora got a little bit of gameplay shown off. Marvel Snap, the upcoming free to play collectible card game, that got a release date for October 18th, 2022. So if you're into collectible card games, there you go. Return to Monkey Island, it got a new trailer, and that's going to come up as far as September 19th, as far as the coming out later here this month. Looking forward to that. In fact, it's coming out a little over a week's time, so looking forward to seeing more of the Return to Monkey Island when that comes out. Aliens Dark Descent, it got a gameplay trailer revealed, so looking forward to seeing more from the Aliens Dark Descent when that comes out in 2023. Gargoyles. I think this was the one that blew everybody away. Gargoyles, which is the cult, and it is a true definition of a cult classic. That series, that animated series that a lot of kids remember from back in the day when they were going to school. They come out of school and they would catch it in the afternoons. It was syndicated. It was actually something that I think a lot of people enjoyed. That's coming out with a remastered version of the Gargoyles game that came out. So that's coming up to modern consoles and the PC as well. So, what did you think about that when you heard that Gargoyles is alive and well and being remastered?
I know, I didn't realize, like, how much people love that property. Like, I remember being a kid and I liked it a lot. Like, you go to Walmart and you could buy the complete series for, I wanna say it's like 30 to 40 bucks, but yeah, it's awesome. That's great news, and, I'm sure, like, that's gonna create a boom in the collector market for the old Gargoyle action figures and any remakes that come out. So, hey, more power to them. Yeah, like you said, it's more money, and, you might as well Disney's obviously doing a lot to cash in on nostalgia. I mean, look at the Santa Claus is proof of that concept. Same thing with like we talked about before, like the Ferris Bueller properties. So I'm just surprised we haven't heard any movement on like another Alien movie coming out.
Exactly, exactly, indeed. I don't think it will be too much time before that happens, but we'll see what happens. Definitely, indeed. There's a mobile MMORPG Avatar Reckoning that got a first look trailer. Again, it was just cinematic in nature. It wasn't exactly showing off really that much in gameplay. It was more like the what you could do in the world. So looking forward to that. As far as if you're an Avatar fan, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga got new Galactic Edition and new characters. As far as added DLC to it. So if you're a big fan of the Skywalker Saga Lego Star Wars game, you got more stuff coming on the way. And Disney Speedstorm, they introduced new racers from Monster Inc. as far as added DLC. Mirrorverse from Halloween season. We didn't even mention that the Haunted Mansion also as well for Disney Plus. That was actually showcased as well. There's a ton of stuff. Even Deadline and IGN didn't get it all in. I'm just amazed to see that there was so much stuff out there. Haunted Mansion even got some love during D23.
Is
Disney's
this
Mirror.
a new show? Oh no, is it a Muppets thing? What is it?
No, no, it's the movie. It's actually the reimagining of the Haunted. Remember the one with Eddie Murphy? Eddie Murphy way back when.
Yeah, because I know
This is going.
Guillermo was attached to that for a while, though,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
but they actually are releasing it, and they did showcase some footage from that at D23. So, and that wasn't even mentioned by Deadline. So, yes, there is more stuff coming out from D23 from that. And then Disney's Mirrorverse Halloween season will soon bring a lot of good Halloween fun to what's going on with that game as well. This free to play action RPG, because free to play is where it's at, in the live service game that is the live service game that it is. Marvel Strike Force is going to add Red Hulk, and that, I believe, does it for all the Disney gaming as well. Your thoughts, because this comes from a company that at one time, after they ditched Disney Infinity, wanted nothing to do with the video game world.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's the same. Well, I mean, remember Lucas Arts, I think, did the same thing back in the day. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, they seem to have learned that there is profitability in video games if they're done right. I think they created with like Disney Infinity, they created these worlds and they weren't able to sustain them. I think they misunderstood the need to create content to revolve around like these worlds. So I mean, hopefully they're remedying that mistake. I think working with companies like Square is a good move, for like Avengers and things. Like I think outsourcing is the way to go for them because now they're seeing how much people love these games. They just need to like maybe not keep it in house.
I agree. I agree. That's for long term. You're gonna get your good and your bad from it, but the good and the high notes I think are going to be a lot higher than what you could do in house with the resources that they allotted to the video game industry in the past. Although I love Disney Infinity, that was really a lot of fun for my
Yeah,
kids.
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people like my kids liked it, and I know a lot of people who still go to like gaming stores trying to collect those little pieces. So I mean, I don't understand why they shut those servers down. I'm sure someone will create like a mod server here at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they just misunderstood what was involved in that process.
So I think that's virtually all of what was covered in the weekend for D23. If you have thoughts on everything D23, whether it's video game, TV, or movie related, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, with all that said, my friend, we went way over on our time based off of D23, but we're going to try and knock out the rest of the show here in the next 15 minutes. So let me clear my throat here for a sec. So let's get ready to rumble on the last 15 minutes of the show, talking about everything else going on. Lord of the Rings Episode 3, they headed to Numenor, which really wasn't covered before in the past movies because of the fact that a lot of things happened to Numenor that, spoilers, I don't want to go into, but they did go ahead into the land of Numenor. I thought it was a really good episode. The
Mhm.
only thing is, I wish they rearranged the scenes a little bit around to make it a little bit more mysterious because there's this scene where they're in Numenor and Galadriel discovers more of the plot of Sauron coming back and the evil starting to grow. And they had this iconic ending to the scene of the map and what Sauron could possibly take control of as far as Middle Earth is concerned. And I thought it goes to black, And I'm like, oh, that's the end of the show. Really good show. And then they had 20 more minutes of the rest of the
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, I
Um,
totally get that.
I would have loved that as the last scene before next week's, but otherwise it was a really good episode. And you know what? For all the vitriol that supposedly is out there, I know there was this Business Insider article trashing Lord of the Rings because they were so happy to say, because based off the review scores, because of all the controversy that this and Game of Thrones has gotten because of the casting choices,
Yeah.
and I disregard it. I totally disregard any opinions as far as from the fans, and I'm just choosing to watch it myself because of the fact that I think there's so much hate and vitriol just because of what's going on as far as the casting is concerned. I totally disregard it and actually watch the product for what it is, and I am really enjoying what I'm seeing so far from the Lord of the Rings. I think it is blowing away anything showcased on this Game of Thrones prequel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a fun ride. Like, uh, Game of Thrones is, or House of Dragon, it's very stressful to watch,
It's just
but
there. It's just it
it,
knows what it needs to do. It checks all the boxes for Game of Thrones
yeah,
fans, and
it's a
that's it. That's all it does.
formulaic. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Lord of the Rings is completely opposite of that. And I've ranted about this, quite a few times in the past couple of weeks, but like I love the show, and I hate when people like try to get me to like fuel their like, oh, the casting choices. Like, just watch the show for what it is. Like I said, there's not a lot of like writing about this. Like, they're pretty much creating a story from scratch, because there's like histories, in Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion about this era of Tolkien's world, but there's not a lot like created around it. So I'm just
Yeah,
I'm enjoying the ride right now.
absolutely. As am I. I'm enjoying it as well. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah,
Simple as that. Or
it
if you don't like it, create one of your own. Go to the Embracer Group, throw them $100 to $200 million, and
mhm,
make one of your own.
yep.
Simple as that.
It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, as for the episode though, yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah, that scene should have been at the end. It took me a minute to realize that, like, oh, the Southlands are actually like, that's isn't that where
Mm-hmm.
Mordor is
Mm-hmm.
eventually built? Okay, yeah. See,
Mm-hmm.
that was like, I was like,
That's what it's leading to. That's what
okay,
it's leading
all
to.
right, yeah. And also the Numenor, I'm like, huh, Isildur, they
Mm-hmm.
eventually start the Kingdom of Gondor. So I'm imagining, like, I haven't followed that history very much. So from what I know about it though, they leave Numenor and go to Middle Earth and settle and create the Kingdom of Gondor.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is really interesting to see like all these threads that they weren't like historically important to me until seeing it on the show.
Absolutely. Very interesting. Big props so far to Amazon. You and I thought this was a risk, and so far I think it's paying off. Again, 25 million people in the first 24 hours saw the first episodes. So, you know what? If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you're
Yeah.
not agreeing with the casting, make one your own. Simple as that.
Mhm.
Just stop with the hate. Just stop with the
Yeah.
hate and vitriol. Move on to something else. Although
One
again, we think they're going to move on to the Little Mermaid. So
Yeah. Good.
it,
I mean, yeah, let's leave the Lord of the Rings alone for a little while.
yeah,
One thing that was like interesting, we were watching because my kids really love Lord of the Rings, so we were sitting there watching this episode last night, and I was like, "Dang, like they really upped the human on human violence in this past episode." Because like normally, and this sounds bad, but it's like it's orc blood. It's
yes,
like you see an orc get an arm or head cut off, and there's no, not really any gore to that. It's just like it looks like someone's cutting into like a turkey, like a cooked turkey or something. But like
yeah,
they really up to the human violence, like him smashing. I forget what the guy's name was, but he's like smashing faces into walls and stuff. So I was like,
yeah.
all right, girls, don't let me cover your eyes for this fire. Was not expecting that to happen.
Well, a lot of people are speculating that that is Sauron. So just that you know that that guy that
Mm.
they're talking about is
Mm.
speculating as the next Sauron. But need I digress? I will go ahead and say if you have thoughts on Lord of the Rings Episode 3 or the series as a whole for the Rings of Power, please let us know. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Rapid Fire, once again, Cobra Kai Season 5 debuted this weekend on Netflix, and I could just say this show is doing just fine. It is really good. Again, another good season, very good season from Cobra Kai. Well worth the binge. And this show embraces the cheese, as I always say. It embraces and loves the melodramatic soap opera style cheese, 80s style cheese that the 80s movies and 90s movies did not. And those movies back in the day took themselves way too seriously. This show does not. It really does a good job now, even better than intertwining the adult and kid stories. It previous seasons it focused a little bit more on the kids at times than what I thought it should have. The adult stories are the most entertaining ones, and I really think that it did a good job of blending both to make them both to make them both important, and I really had a good time with this. Highly recommend it. It really is a lot of fun. Yes, it's nostalgic, but it just brings everybody back from the Karate Kid movies from the past. It's funny how they're the bad guys from Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3 are all working together to beat other bad guys from
Like a
the
Marvel
Karate
team
Kid
up.
movies.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
an
it is so
Avengers.
exactly. It is so hilarious when you stop to think about that, but it is truly a lot of fun to watch. It is Cobra Kai. They don't take themselves seriously. You shouldn't either. It's just a lot of fun. It's actually very well written. They what they do a good job of is they dot their i's and cross their t's. They make sure that if they show you something earlier in the series that they bring it back. If there's something that they reference in the from the movies, they make sure they reference it properly. A lot of great things. The only thing is that the last part, the last ending of the last episode, there's kind of a head scratching thing because there's there's some stuff that went on as far as the ending is concerned with Crease that was kind of head scratching at the very end. But outside of that, just a fantastic season, season five. And again, sets itself up, I believe, for season six. I think it's a lot of people can just love this and just, I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I keep like it's. I need to watch it. I need to just sit down and watch it.
It's a lot of fun, man. It's just it's the cheese overflows, and they're just embracing the cheese with Cobra Kai. That's
Yeah.
why I love it. As much as I hated the movies, I love this series because it does a flip on what it did, so well. What it did to embrace the audience back in the '80s, it does an opposite flip of it, and just really it embraces. It understands the world in 2020 is different than 1985, and it does a lot of different things now accordingly, and it really does it really has grown, and it's a great series, just absolutely great series. People got to check it out. So yep, right there on Netflix. If you have any thoughts on Cobra Kai season 5, you got a chance to check it out, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Clerks 3 is coming out this week. Kevin Smith dropping his long rumored third version of the Clerks saga, and the advanced reviews are all over the place. I was telling Josh before the show, there's scores in the 20s and there's scores in the 90s. So, are you interested in revisiting the world of Clerks with Clerks 3?
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I still love. I love Kevin Smith's movies. And I'll watch them regardless of whether or not. I mean, whether they're good or not. Like I still appreciate them.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. But Clerks 3 is coming out. Let everybody know. I think it's scheduled for a Tuesday release. So if you have thoughts on Clerks 3, let us know on the site as well. But before we head on out, my friend, amidst all the things that were going on with D23, the SMH move of the weekend was Ubisoft. The I don't know. I don't know what this company is doing. I don't know what this company is thinking, but it decided to go ahead and put out a showcase called Ubisoft Forward, and they did showcase Skull and Bones. They did showcase a lot of stuff in the Assassin's Creed universe. They did showcase more of Mario and Rabbids game, that new game that they've got coming up, which has been a very under the radar, very successful series of games for them in the Mario plus Rabbids series for Nintendo Switch. Just Dance 2023, they showcased that. Trackmania is coming to consoles. Rainbow Six is going mobile. The Division, they showcased a lot of stuff as far as the Heartland and Resurgence, and the Division 2, a lot of content for that. Riders Republic Season 4, A lot of stuff going on there. Again, Skull and Bones, they showcased a new trailer as that's headed for a November release. But the thing they wanted to talk about most was the Assassin's Creed universe. So if you could take some time out before we end the show, I'm going to leave it for you with what's going on with the future of Assassin's Creed.
Okay, so first, before we hit Assassin's Creed, the Ubisoft Forward, everything they're doing is becoming a live service.
Yeah,
It's not even they're not like I'm pretty sure like physical games are going bye-bye from them, and everything's becoming a service. You know, they moved, Mario Rabbids obviously a game, but Just Dance is becoming a service.
the
Rocksmith is
Division.
becoming a service. Division's becoming a service. Assassin's Creed, even, I think, is on its way to becoming a service because they talked about the launch of Assassin's Creed Infinity, which was assumed to be like a massive online Assassin's Creed game. It's
Yes.
becoming much like Halo Infinite. They're releasing it as a hub for Assassin's Creed content. So
Yeah.
anytime you want to play the new games, you have to go to this hub and you have to download it. So there's no more disc-based media. And you could tell they're moving towards that direction with how, the last couple Assassin's Creed games, you had to be online in order to save your game. Like it has to constantly be online to do anything.
And they talked about how not all the upcoming Assassin's Creed games will be these huge, expansive open worlds. In fact,
Yeah.
there's one on the way that's not going to be, that they've talked about specifically not being that expansive, huge game that you're used to. Is
Yep.
that bothering you at all?
So this, yeah, it kind of does bother me. So it's Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming out next year. It's weird because in the end of Valhalla, you find out that Basim is Loki, and so they're like creating an Origins game that doesn't really tie into the storytelling they did in Valhalla. So I'm really confused on how that's going to work. And they're going back to like the basics of Assassin's Creed. Like there are no, from what I understand, there are no RPG elements in this Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's just like it's basically like Assassin's Creed 1.
And they're doing an Assassin's Creed multiplayer separate game. The modern series is going to be explained only in Assassin's Creed Infinity. They're talking about a Netflix mobile game that they're doing on Netflix's mobile
Well,
service. They're talking
is
about a Netflix series. Ton of
yes,
stuff from
a
Assassin's
ton
Creed.
of stuff. Yeah, and I know that. So the mobile game is supposed to be the first like open world Assassin's Creed game, kind of like the first full Assassin's Creed experience on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's tied to Netflix or not. I'm not sure about that, but I know they are working with Netflix to create a series. And then the next iteration and so the mobile game set in Japan. And the next like there are two full Assassin's Creed games coming out
Yeah.
that are an extension that are like the next RPG games in their series. You have Assassin's Creed, um, Hexe, and then you have Assassin's Creed Codename Jade. And Codename Jade takes place. No, sorry, not Codename Jade. It's
Yeah, it was Codename Jane. There was a Codename Jane.
Codename Jade though is the Chinese is the China the one
The
that takes
set,
place
the one set, the game set in China.
in China.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's one I forget. Oh shoot, what's the name of it? It's like
The Valhalla, the last chapter,
the whole
Codename
last
Jane.
chapter.
Go ahead. Valhalla, the last chapter.
Yeah, and then
Josh,
there's
go ahead.
oh
I got you now. Okay, you
okay.
came back.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, there's Mirage, there's Codename Hexe, which we don't really know a lot about right now, and then there's one that takes place in feudal Japan where you're a shinobi, and I'm trying to like I don't remember what the name of that one is, but
Is that
yeah,
Jade?
I thought
That's
Jade
that's
was
that's that's the Chinese. That's the China one. I'm sorry.
yeah the
That's the
one
one
where
based.
that takes place in China. I'm sorry, man. There was so much announced last night. I don't even
I think
remember what
it's Codename Red. It's Codename Red.
Codename Red,
Code,
yeah, Codename Red, and that one, it's like you're a shinobi warrior, and
yes.
it sounds cool because I have been one of the people that have been wanting to see Assassin's Creed go to feudal Japan. Um, but yeah, I
But
don't know. There's so much coming out, and I know there's this big deal where they're like, hey, maybe we should focus on one Assassin's Creed title at a time and make it come out like every other year,
well,
and then
remember
that
we had that discussion about how there was too much Assassin's Creed coming out, and
yeah
they got away
right.
from it, and they
Well,
started letting stuff breathe, and it was getting
mhm.
better, and then now all of a sudden they're just jam packed full of Assassin's
And
Creed again.
even like the people that work at Ubisoft are like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do from now on. And now all of a sudden there's like what 5 Assassin's Creed things coming out in the next 3 or 4 years.
and live service and a Assassin's Creed series and Assassin's Creed mobile game. Way too much Assassin's Creed, I think, on the way. But it sounds to me, it reeks of desperation for me
It
from
does.
Ubisoft. And the thing was, they're just not doing anything right there right now, because the fact that you released it in the midst of what D23 was doing and releasing, it just speaks volumes about the thought process about when you do these things. Nobody cared with everything that was going on with
Yeah.
D23 that Ubisoft Forward was even saying anything. I don't think anybody probably watched it. Well, I'm sure there were probably people watching, but I don't think they got the audience that they wanted simply because of the timing. Just again, the thought process at Ubisoft really has me perplexed.
Was not there. And they are desperate too to leave the 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 workplace controversies behind, with like the way they allegedly treat women and stuff like that. And you could tell too with because every trailer was so strongly female focused, but it's like doing that is not going to change your sins, like there's still like you need to something they need to come out and like say like, hey, we're working on this,
So
like
not
don't
so
not just
not
like
only
a
go ahead.
silent fan service. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, it's just okay. Again, they're we were applauding them because they were letting the Assassin's Creed series breathe. They were letting them take time to build better universes, better worlds. Now all of a sudden they're not only doubling but tripling down on Assassin's Creed. And again, it reeks of desperation from Ubisoft, a company which again is not making good choices in the past 5, 6 years, that has really taken their company downhill.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like in the last few Assassin's Creed games have just been they've been fine. Even like the ratings for them have been like sevens and eights. I don't remember if there ever was an Assassin's Creed game that was a 9 or a 10. And this is I don't know, man. Like I don't know where the series is going to go, what they're going to do with the story. There's no end in sight for it. They have so many like narratives that are still unwound that need to be wrapped up, and I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen with this franchise.
What are your thoughts out there on Ubisoft Forward, and what's the outlook moving forward for Ubisoft? We want to hear your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a very busy episode, a lot to talk about, so much to go ahead and break down. Remember, you can catch it all on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
I don't, and right now, like I'm looking, I know God of War allegedly is coming out this year, but I have a feeling that we're gonna get a lot more game movements. I was looking at the schedule stuff coming out, and I just like I don't have faith that a lot of these games are gonna make their release date. So I'm sure we'll talk about that more as the time, months go on towards the holidays. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great